Hi, this is Marquita. Welcome back to Trying to Do It All on a Wing and a Prayer. Today, I want to talk a little bit about African spiritual systems and the ways in which people of African descent have preserved and adapted their ancestral traditions, especially in America, over the years. Lately, I've been thinking about what I want to teach my 3-year-old daughter about spirituality, about religion, about consciousness, about a spiritual practice. And I actually was thinking about that before she was born. I've been thinking about that for a long time now. And as I'm thinking about it, I remember things that I have done over the years that were maybe things that my mom said, or like an older, like grandmother or aunt said, or superstitious type things, or just things that I've intuitively started to do, and really thinking about where did these things come from. So I kind of want to just give you a list of some of these things that I do, why I think it's important, and also just because I think it's interesting, just reflecting on some of the practices that I have kind of adapted over the years, as well as I'm thinking about, what to teach the next generation. And I will preface that by saying that I grew up in a missionary Baptist church. I grew up going to Christian school. I grew up in going to Catholic school. And so I have a history of being in Christianity and in a religious institution for a number of years. And I always had some understanding of a spiritual world. When I was younger, I thought that, or I believed that dreams existed on their own, in their own kind of reality, and that when I was awake, I would think to myself, I wonder if I'm dreaming now, or I wonder if, the dream is still going and there's another world happening while I'm awake in the dream world. And I had a lot of little, I guess, my own beliefs about magic and using different elements and energies to do different things. As a kid, I gravitated toward movies and TV shows that were magical. And as I got older, even when I was younger, I would say I questioned some of the things that I was taught at school, at church, and I always felt like there was more out there. I felt like there was more to learn. I felt like there was more to this world than what was said or maybe promised in the Bible. I just couldn't make sense out of a lot of the stories in the Bible. So I always had questions, but as a kid, I wasn't able to do anything with that curiosity other than thinking about it. We didn't have Google back then. So as I got older, I went on my own spiritual journey of exploring and learning, researching, using dance as a conduit to learn more about African spirituality and other spiritual systems in various cultures. I remember at one point in time, I was studying Rastafarianism, I was studying Nation of Islam, Jainism, Buddhism, Ifa, a lot of different spiritual systems. And I really found that a lot of them were the same. I mean, they're all pretty much saying the same types of things, just in a different way, with different ceremonies or different rituals or different practices. And I just kind of became more interested in connecting with my higher self and my ancestors, and learning more about theories about time and space, and theories about how the universe was formed. I was researching or looking up string theory and the multiverse. And I mean, years ago, a lot of this stuff became popular recently, but I was looking at these things like years ago, just on my own journey, not really having a lot of family or friends who were on the same page. So I say that to say I have been doing a lot of these practices along the way, or I've learned them along the way, and I just want to share them because I think it's interesting in this conversation with people of African descent preserving and adapting ancestral traditions, and how some of these meanings of these rituals have kind of got lost over time and how it's transformed into other things. And so here we go. Leaving gospel music on. And a lot of this is probably hoodoo as well. I will say that. So when I was younger, I would, like, if I felt like bad energy around, or if I was upset or not in a good mood, I would leave gospel music playing in the room, like after I had left. Like after I left the house or wherever I was at, probably my apartment, I would just leave gospel music playing. And this was in a time period when I wasn't really going to church. I wasn't really considering myself Christian, but I knew that there was power in gospel music. I mean, I still love gospel music. My grandmother loved gospel music. And so listening to gospel music, I actually do enjoy listening to gospel music because it connects me to my ancestry. It connects me to my family, and it makes me feel protected and safe. And a lot of that comes from African people placing their spiritual power into a system, that they were a lot of times forced to be a part of. But does that change the energy of the spirit? So that's one thing. But also, if you're under spiritual attack, or I felt like I was being attacked in some way energetically or spiritually, I will listen to gospel music because it just raises the vibration of the room. I mean, I can't listen to gospel music without feeling something, especially that old time gospel music with all the deacons hymning and humming and singing the hymns at church. That is still something that I do to this day. So another one is when I was younger, like if you spilled salt, I feel like my mom told me this. I don't know. I feel like I've remembered this my whole life, but if you spill salt, then it's bad luck. So you're supposed to throw the salt over your left shoulder. And I still do that. But also, I use salt as a protective element. I use it in salt baths to ground my energy, to remove any negative energy that's around me. So I'm not sure if that's connected, but it seems connected in a way. I don't know where the superstition of throwing the salt over your shoulder came from, but I know that I'm not the only person who does that, because I've had friends who have told me that they do that as well. All right, the next one is the cinnamon blow. So blowing cinnamon into your house, along with other things, brings abundance into your household when you do it on the first of the month. So this is something that I do as well. And my husband's like, why is there cinnamon on the floor? But using cinnamon as an element of abundance and protection, and incorporating it into rituals and candle magic and candle work is something that I've done to increase my feelings of abundance and my knowing that I have what I need within me. And I believe that it's a hoodoo tradition. There's so many of these. So a medicine bag, and this is indigenous and African, but keeping a medicine bag or I want to say I'll spell it Gris. I do not want to butcher the pronunciation, but it's a bag that you can keep with items that you carry with you for protection or for whatever you need. So one of these medicine bags could contain like crystals, herbs, things like that you carry with you. And when I first I liked rocks for a long time. Since I was a little kid, I liked collecting rocks. But as I got older, I gravitated towards crystals, and I would keep them on me, like on my person, in my pocket, throughout the day, to, help me with specific things that I was working on. And so in a medicine bag, I keep my crystals and other items. And so I know that is something that is a carryover from African tradition. Giving, okay, the next one on my list is giving offerings at the ocean. And I don't know if this is something, I feel like this is something that I have done intuitively. And then I learned that, offerings are, you can give offerings at bodies of water, at oceans, to conjure up certain spirits or to honor certain spirits or to communicate with certain spirits. And I really like the ocean. My whole life I've been collecting seashells. And so being at the ocean has always been peaceful and calming for me. And so it was just a natural thing for me to, when I'm at the beach, say a prayer and leave like a flower or a gift or a note or something at the ocean. And that's very simple, something that I do and that I've done for a while. All right, the next one is talking to plants. And again, I don't know where that came from. My grandmother really liked plants, and I remember as a child really enjoying spending time with her, watering the plants in the yard, especially the elephant ears, the little pom-pom plants, and picking things out of her garden. And I have a lot of plants in my home. I love plants, and we know that there are nature spirits. There are spirits in the animals, in trees, and birds. All these natural bodies have spirits. And so talking to the plants, scientifically, I know they say it helps them grow, but I think energetically, spiritually, it helps us to connect. Well, it helps me to connect with nature spirits. And so I don't know if that's something that I was ever taught, but it's something that I've done for a long time. And I know that herbs and plants are very important in natural medicine in African culture. So the next one is clapping and stomping. So I feel like when you're making loud noises, that's clearing energy. And then also stomping. When I was little, there was this song, I can't remember what it is right now, but it was something like, step on the devil, Satan get behind me, step. It was something about stepping on the devil, stepping on something. And so we would just stomp on the ground and then clap and stomp and clap. And it was like part of the song. And so I don't know where that came from, but there is this Ifa prayer that I do, this Yoruba prayer that I was taught by an Ifa priestess. Let me correct myself. And it involves saying this prayer, and at certain points in the prayer, you tap a stick on the ground. And she said that was waking up or communicating with the ancestors. And so maybe, in my mind, that's connected to using sound and rhythms to communicate with spirit or to move energy. And then another thing that I was taught at some point was tapping on an oracle deck before you do your reading. And so to me, that says that rhythm, sound, vibration is a frequency that can be used or tuned to communicate with spirit. And next on my list is praying at crossroads. And I think this is something that I've done more so in recent years. But when I was in grad school, I did research on Haitian dance and religion and culture and spiritual systems. And some of the loas or spirits lived, or their space was at the crossroads. And so when I was in grad school, whenever I crossed over bridges, trains, or crossroads, I would say a certain prayer. And so I have continued to do that as a way to offer up emotions, offer up prayer, thanks, gratitude to those spirits, or ask for help. Another practice on my list, well, not practice, but food. So, and this one is like everybody knows this. Black people traditionally eat greens and black eyed peas on New Year's Day. And I know a lot of black people don't like greens and don't like black eyed peas. I did not like black eyed peas growing up, and I put barbecue sauce on it. But anyway, I like black eyed peas now, and I do like greens. But black people and black traditions, people of African descent, eat these things specifically on New Year's Day to bring in money and good luck. And so my mom does this every year my whole life. She cooks or eats greens and black eyed peas. Another one to go along with this is not doing laundry on New Year's Day. So she would say, well, on the first day of the new year, you don't want to do something because then you're going to be doing it for the rest of the year. Well, I do laundry almost every day. So in my mind, whether or not I do laundry on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, whenever, I'm still going to be doing laundry all year long. So that one, I take it with a grain of salt, but I still don't do laundry on New Year's Day. Anything else? I mean, there's so many. And as I'm going through this list, I'm just thinking about how I've learned all these things over time, how some of these practices are intuitive, how I have created or recreated rituals from meditations, from dreams. And I'm just wondering, as a parent, trying to do it all, how do I teach my daughter everything that I know? And saying that out loud sounds crazy because my parents probably have not taught me everything that they know, but yet somehow I have been on my own spiritual path. I have become the person who I'm supposed to be. I have learned what I needed to learn, and I've taught them things. And so I am excited about seeing her journey as she grows and gets older, as she learns things, as she's excited about things, as she's disappointed by things, as she sees things from a different perspective as she gets older. And it's just really giving me a good perspective on, how I can, look forward into the future and, knowing what I know now. Is there anything that I would do differently for myself? And then is there anything that I would, suggest that she do, or just allow her to learn as much as she can as she goes? So it's an interesting inner conversation that I've been having now that I'm having out loud with you. And there's so much power in having your own spiritual practice and spiritual knowledge and just curiosity for knowing, like, what is out there? Why are we here? I think it's so fascinating that there are so many theories about life and why we're here. Did the Anunnaki, connect with humans or animals or apes to create us? Were we here to be like this race of people to do these things? Or did, these other beings come from this other space to, create a new earth? Was Jesus an alien or extraterrestrial? Or, what is a dinosaur and why are they gone? Like, is the earth, are we moving into a new reality? I mean, there's so many theories and they're all interesting. Even reading stories from the Bible about the Great Flood and how, in history, these things happened and, all these things has happened now and what's going to happen in 2030. And there's just so much going on. I mean, it's really a fascinating time to be alive. There's a lot of change happening. There's a lot of growth happening. There's a lot of access to information in ways that we've never had. I can't even imagine having the access to the information that I have now, spiritual information, cultural information, live, real time, babalawos doing readings and all the ceremonies on WhatsApp. I mean, it's just crazy how much information is out there that, we can travel, we can communicate with somebody on the other side of the world for free, basically. When I was younger, all we had was an encyclopedia, the dictionary, and conversations with grandmama and granddaddy, and sometimes they didn't want to talk about these things. So it's a great time, even with the chaos, even with the foolishness happening in the world right now. It's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to continue to be curious about your own spiritual being and your ancestry and what you are passing on to the next generation. And it's just fascinating to me. So these are some of my practices and some of the things that I have, tools that I have in my tool belt that I use. And it's always important, and our therapist in me is coming out, it's always important to have tools, because in any given situation, you want to be able to have the wherewithal to know what to do and have a way to regulate your emotions, have a way to have healthy, helpful thoughts, and have a way to release tension from the body in order to maintain overall wholeness and wellness. So let me know what you think. You can learn more about me and my services. I offer one-on-one Reiki and mediumship sessions. I offer dance and movement healing workshops. I offer end-of-life grief support and dance movement healing sessions. My website is marquitasams.com. My Instagram is marquita.sams. And I'm just out here trying to do it all on a wing and a prayer.